This week we are here in Copenhagen having this international conference or symposium called Dedicated to Architecture, and it is, to put it quite simple, it's really about how can we together as institutions from around the world be part of being even better at creating changes for the broader public who lives in the cities that we are working in.
So the three themes are impact, conditions, and methods. And I feel it is very important here to do it here in the Danish Architecture Center before the center moves to this new location, to find out what is the basis for the future work and how can this center be effective and have an impact into the audience in the future.
If we want to have impact, that impact has got to be on people, but it's also got to be on place. And I think if we're trying to improve our built environment like all of us are, then we've got to be able to get that message from the politician to the person in the street. And it's bringing that all together. That's our job. If we are the safeguarders of our built environment as architects, then it's through our institutions and through our outlets that we can actually carry that message across.
And we hope that all of us will continue to work together, either holding it annually or biannually, both in DAC in Copenhagen or maybe in one of our cities.
An institution needs to have a voice, right? It's almost like a writer, where you are able to find the platform and the space from where you speak and where people can speak back to you, and where you can establish a space of engagement and communication and transformation, right? So the moment that one is able to find that voice, an entire universe of things appear.
The centre should lead rather than follow, that by virtue of their contacts and their knowledge and their judgment, they ought to be able to say, well, this will be a good idea to discuss, or this will be a good idea to have as an exhibition. And actually they find out whether their judgment was correct by the number of people who attend.
I think one of the most important things for all of the different types of institutions, because they're financed differently, they're in different locations, and they've got different themes and different audiences. I think one of the key things we must all do is be open to everybody, to be as free as possible, to share knowledge, to share exhibitions, to share websites, but most important, because I'm a campaigner, is to campaign for something alongside the information that you have, and that brings it to life.
The moment that you have more financial stability, you also perhaps take less risks. The moment that you have less money, you care perhaps less. Therefore, you are a lot more brave in sometimes taking leaps and taking risks and experimenting. So money sometimes comes with some strings attached, and I think it is important for anyone who is at the head of any institution to be able to allow for all different economies, all kind of different economies to occur within one system.
To be part of the changing of the world, we have to interact, we have to learn a new way to speak to politicians. We have to learn how to interact to people who think of the overall planning of the cities and of the nations, of the regions, to find a new position for the architect, because the traditional idea of planning, urban design, they're dead, they don't work, they're too slow, they don't keep up with things that happen.
Well, I think architecture centres should get close to politicians, not because they necessarily agree with their politics, and they should get close to them whichever side of the political spectrum they're on, and the reason for that is that they make decisions and they've been elected, unlike anybody who works in an architecture centre.
Seeing a lot of the projects and a lot of the institutions present here has convinced me even more something I believed already about the duty we have to take the public seriously, to take the concerns of the public about architecture and their urban environment deadly serious. Whether it's about things that we find difficult, about heritage, about the things that the public often react very strongly against about modern architecture, we have to take these concerns seriously and work with them, sort of understand their concerns and work out from that connection with architecture and design.
The biggest outcome is the exchanging of ideas. I mean that people are quite inspired after listening and participating in the debate. So rather than getting a solution on in which directions the architectural institution, that might be the museum or the architectural center, will go in the future, I think the outcome more was a kind of marketplace where you could get new ideas and get inspired of doing things.
Not only are many of these institutions somehow competitors, but they also do not know each other necessarily. They come from really around the globe, and they come from very, very different cultures. So I've been quite surprised and, to be quite honest, happy and thrilled about the fact that there's been a kind of ambience of we should do more together.
For me, as a person new to the field of curation of architecture, this kind of conference has been fantastic. You know, it's an opportunity for someone like me to introduce myself to this field and meet colleagues from other places who are thinking about the same problems as I am, but with a lot more experience and a lot more insight than I have after just 3 months at the Victoria and Albert Museum.
In most countries, in my experience, architecture centres do tend to be quite, they're like silos. They do tend really to concentrate on people who like design, people who like architecture. You can tell that from the people who come in and what they're wearing. And yes, a lot of centres have done something about clients because clients may be sources of funding. And in any event, architects themselves, of course, love meeting clients, whereas they may not be so keen on meeting contractors in social or semi-social circumstances. But actually the opportunity in an era of collaboration to extend the offer in a way to the whole of the construction industry, to take design seriously, because everything's designed one way or the other, good, bad or indifferent. It's all designed.